with the most. I do not brag or boast. I'm coming to you guys live from coast to coast. It's your boy. Welcome to another live stream of Just My Opinion podcast. As always, rate, comment, subscribe. Share this with a friend, family, as well as a follower. Let's get this YouTube channel lit in the YouTube algorithm. You heard me? So, got a lot of stuff to talk about today. I want to talk about opening night as well as the uh, turning evolution of this beef feud, however y'all want to label this, between Stephen A. Smith and LeBron James. I thought we were past this, but apparently Stephen A. Smith wants to continue to talk about this. This is more so on Stephen A. Smith than LeBron James. I know there's going to be a lot of people out there that's going to say otherwise, but we're just going to just go ahead and dive into today's episode. So, basically, Stephen A. Smith was recently appeared as a guest on Carmelo Anthony's podcast, 7 p.m. in Broadway, where he spoke candidly about his long-running feud with LeBron James. The episode was released in late October, sparked a major reaction across social media due to Smith's comments. So, LeBron James feud, and this is coming from Stephen A. Smith's point of view. Like I said, I think Carmelo Anthony has done moved past this, but apparently Stephen A. Smith wants to continue to talk about this. So on LeBron James feud, the most discussed part of the interview is really the only thing you can talk about in this interview. Hold on one second, guys. I want to make sure you guys can hear me clearly. Hello? Okay, y'all guys can hear me. Y'all guys can hear me. I'm on a little delay here. So, um, the most interesting thing on this feud is, the conversation is the feud that Stephen A. Smith has with LeBron James. The most discussed part in this interview was Smith's harsh criticism of James. Smith claimed his dislike for James goes back more than over a decade, accusing LeBron of being one way publicly and another way privately. He describes James' public attempt to dog him on the Pat McAfee show as the last straw in the conflict. Okay, Smith said he found it offensive that LeBron tries to portray Smith as someone who would attack a player's family, reference the dispute of the comments Smith made about Bronny James. We'll talk about that in a little bit later. The past conflict with Carmelo Anthony, while largely focusing on LeBron, Smith also revealed the one time he and Carmelo did not see eye to eye. Anthony confronted Smith about the comments he made regarding the New York Knicks during the 2016 Rio Olympics. Smith said he had to shut the hell up because he was right. And an omission of that highlight was respected for Anthony. Smith explained that they quickly moved past the issue, unlike his ongoing beef with LeBron. Relationships with the NBA legend. The interview also includes a reflection on Stephen A. Smith's relationship with other NBA greats. He discussed what it was like to cover basketball icons such as Kobe Bean Bryant, Michael Jeffrey Jordan, and Allen Iverson. How he would manage a connection to these players while staying true to his role as a journalist. Okay, so I'm going to dive into all this. Okay, so let's just go into Smith's claim of his dislike for LeBron James go back over a decade, accusing James of being uh, one way publicly and another way privately, being two-faced. That's basically what Smith is accusing LeBron James. So, and a lot of journalists, including Stephen A. Smith, would use this terminology as an out for LeBron James when everything was all warm and cozy, and LeBron would communicate with these journalists, such as Brian Windhorst. He would talk to Stephen A. Smith. LeBron would talk to the media because he wanted to have a healthy relationship with the media. Okay, and at that particular time, the media was still a powerhouse. I mean, social media existed, but it didn't exist on the magnitude that we see social media today, particularly with a lot of these athletes with their own media companies, with their own podcasts, with their own websites. It was just different back then. Okay, so Smith, as well as other people that had a relationship with LeBron James, would often say this about LeBron James when LeBron James, talk about certain things on or off the court. They will always paraphrase it as this: "Well, he's trying to be so careful, and he's managing his words, and he doesn't want to offend anybody, so he's pretty much staying neutral on any subject." I mean, that was pretty much the excuse Stephen A. Smith echoed on First Take, because I still remember it as clear as day, as well as other journalists that had a connection with LeBron James. Even Brian Windhorst would reference that. Okay, so I'm assuming Stephen A. Smith is pulling from that part of LeBron James' career, but Stephen A. Smith would always make excuses for LeBron where LeBron wouldn't necessarily pick a side because LeBron didn't want to offend pretty much anyone. LeBron would stay neutral, in the early part of his career because he wanted to please everybody. And I even said back then, LeBron, you're just going to have to pick a struggle and just live with it. You can't make people on the left side always happy. You can't make people on the right side always happy. You can't make all the rich people happy. You can't make all the poor people happy. You can't make all the Republicans happy. You can't make all the Democrats happy. You just can't, because everyone comes from different backgrounds. You just can't simply make everybody happy, because what you end up doing is offending everybody by not taking a position, by not taking a side. I said that back then, okay? But people like Stephen A. Smith, Brian Windhorst, and others would make excuses for LeBron why he wouldn't take a side. So I'm assuming Smith is talking about that, okay? So he also talked about, he described James' public attempt to dog Stephen A. Smith out on the Pat McAfee show as a last straw in their conflict. So before we go into the Pat McAfee, let's stay on par with what I just said a few seconds ago. So when they had a great relationship, often LeBron would communicate with Stephen A. Smith because he wanted to please everybody. But then something happened to LeBron, and I think it started to change how LeBron approached the media, particularly when he was with the Cleveland Cavaliers on his first attempt with the Cleveland Cavaliers, and that incident with one of the players messing around with his mother, how he was. I mean, when the series with Boston, and people started to take shots at LeBron around that time, and particularly when First Take was blowing up. even though Stephen A. Smith had LeBron James back, occasionally he would poke the bear a lot. He would poke the bear a lot on a lot of the segments, and he would never attack Skip Bayless, because Skip Bayless would just go ham on LeBron James. Now he would defend LeBron to a certain extent, but LeBron expected Stephen A. Smith to be like Shannon Sharp. Like when Shannon Sharp was going back and forth with Skip Bayless on Undisputed, that's the that's what LeBron was thinking Stephen A. Smith was going to do for him on First Take. And y'all gotta remember, First Take was bigger than social media. Everybody got their opinions, their viewpoints from First Take. Like it or not, love it or hate it, that's a lot of people, you know, got their resources or how they feel about a certain player or a certain team by what Skip Bayless and Stephen A. Smith would say on First Take. And that was pretty much the final straw with LeBron. He started to shut out Stephen A. Smith. He started to shut out Brian Windhorst. And that's where their relationship turned icy cold. And then he started really utilizing, other people to, influence or to get how he feels out that he trusted in the media. So that's when social media just started to build and started to blow up, and now these athletes go like, hey, I don't need to have a healthy relationship with the media. I don't need a journalist in my back pocket. Social media is popping. I have my own platform. I can do my own media company. There's no restrictions. There are still people that's in Fox Sports 1, that's in ESPN, NBC, CBS, that used to be former players of mine. I still have good relationships with them, like Richard Jefferson. So they're going to do my bidding, and I don't need these journalists that has this opinion like you have to allow us access to you if you want us to print your story, or how you feel, or this, that, and the third. Okay, so LeBron didn't need Stephen A. Smith at that point of view. When he needed him, Stephen A. Smith, was kind of pushed up, trying to separate himself from a lot of those stories, and LeBron felt betrayed by that. Now look, should LeBron feel that way, that Stephen A. Smith didn't go ham on Skip Bayless, the way how Skip Bayless was talking about LeBron James on First Take? Should, LeBron expected more from Stephen A. Smith? I don't know. But the way how they, refined how they had a good relationship in the beginning, if I feel like someone's that has my back, and I trust them, and we have a relationship, and I would think I would want somebody who's in my corner that will stand up for me if there's someone talking bad about me, or saying mistruths about me. I would expect Stephen A. Smith to say something, defend me somehow, some way. Okay. But I don't know how they relate. I don't know how friendly they were in their workman, or they work type of relationship, because it was a work relationship. It wasn't, Stephen A. Smith did not know LeBron James from day one. He didn't grow up with LeBron James. Okay, so that's another part. That's another side to the story. So yeah. So when LeBron no longer needed to have a relationship with the journalists, and he started to hone his sights on other individuals, and he said there was no need to have Stephen A. Smith. Stephen A. Smith was pretty much expendable to him. And maybe Stephen A. Smith took that the wrong way. But hey, people need you until they no longer don't need you no more. And that's just par for the core. So when Stephen A. Smith, when LeBron went on Pat McAfee, I felt like it was the final straw. But when he went on Pat McAfee, Stephen A. Smith expect to get access to LeBron James for all the years that he was quote unquote in LeBron James' corner. He expected LeBron James to give him the access to his first interview. And when LeBron James didn't give it to him and gave it to Pat McAfee, that infuriated Stephen A. Smith. I mean, look, despite if you like Stephen A. Smith or you don't, if you do like Stephen A. Smith, if you don't like Stephen A. Smith, put yourself in Stephen A. Smith's shoes, okay? Um, you've been defending him, and you have, and you have been like someone that was close into his camp. You would think, I mean, the amount of years you have been with LeBron James, you would think LeBron would give you a solid and at least granted access to you interviewing him, or since you have the bigger platform, First Take, you would think LeBron James would come to First Take. That's what Stephen A. Smith believed, but unfortunately, he gave it to Pat McAfee, and that makes Stephen A. Smith look super bad. Because Pat McAfee, that the ESPN executives were right to give Pat McAfee that amount of money. It makes ESPN look good because they knew by giving Pat McAfee this platform and paying Pat McAfee all this money, Pat McAfee was going to get these stars to come to his show. He did it with Aaron Rodgers. Now he's doing it with LeBron James. So, it makes ESPN look good, and that's why ESPN gave him all that money. You know, I remember when they first talked about having Pat McAfee on ESPN. Stephen A. Smith would comment about it, but not favorable. He would still think that First Take is the flagship of ESPN. All the big stars want to come to First Take because Stephen A. Smith is there, correct? So, yeah, that makes Stephen A. Smith look bad that Pat McAfee got the rights to LeBron James to come to his show and sit with Pat McAfee. But and also Stephen A. Smith has to realize that Pat McAfee is, it's just a different climate going on Pat McAfee's show than going on First Take. To me, I feel like that's why a lot of athletes feel more comfortable. And, I think Aaron Rodgers and LeBron James is going to start a train of athletes, actors, and actresses that's going to go on Pat McAfee. They feel more comfortable going there than First Take. Remember, back in the day, First Take would get these big time stars. Now they're no longer getting them. Okay. So, I mean, they got Denzel Washington, but you got to understand Denzel Washington has history with Stephen A. Smith. So that's the reason why, Spike Lee and Denzel Washington went on First Take. They were promoting a movie. They have a relationship. They have a connection with Stephen A. Smith. And that's really the only reason why they went on First Take. Okay. So, Stephen A. Smith feels kind of betrayed because of that incident. Okay. And, he feels kind of slighted more so on that than what we're about to discuss now. So Smith also said he found it offensive that that LeBron James tried to portray him as someone who would attack a player's family, referencing the dispute on his dispute over the comments over Smith made about Bronny James. Now, I'm gonna be real with you. I understand the father son dynamic thing, and I understand where LeBron James is coming, where he may feel what Stephen A. Smith said, what others have said, could probably come off as offensive when they're critiquing Bronny James. But I'm sorry, LeBron, I can't co sign all the way with it where you find it that offensive because you got to realize these journalists, these scouts, these commentators or content creators, despite if they have a relationship with you or not, despite if you know them or not, they still have a job to do. Okay, you got to look at it that way, LeBron. And it's the same thing when LeBron took umbrage over Charles Barkley's comments that when Charles Barkley asked on TNT, he said, "Does LeBron James even want to compete?" When there was talking about the super team thing, where everyone wants to pair up and join forces and form like Voltron, have all the best players on one team. And Charles Barkley spoke his piece and he spoke his mind about that. Okay, he didn't lie, he didn't sugarcoat it, and LeBron James took offense by that. And when people were talking about Bronny James, when they were rating Bronny James, they're only rating Bronny James because Bronny James is an NBA player. He's no different than any other NBA player that's in the league. If there are players who haven't even been drafted. I mean, they didn't get drafted; it came off the streets. They get critiqued too, LeBron. I'm sorry, you can miss me on that. I understand that you're upset that what they say about your son is not favorable. There was some people talking about that he shouldn't even belong in the league, and the only reason why he's in the league because of his father, and he hasn't proven he deserves to be in the league. Look, Bronny James have made strides last year. I do feel like Bronny James deserved to be in the league. He deserves an opportunity, and you should exercise your opportunities. Okay. Some people get in the league on raw talent. Other people get in the league by what other coaches have said about that particular player. Okay. So you got to get in where you can fit in. So I don't believe this nonsense about he doesn't deserve to be in the league, but he should be criticized and critiqued just like everybody else. If LeBron James takes umbrage over that, if he has an issue over that, he's just going to have to get over that. Okay. And I saw the video when Stephen A. Smith was critiquing Bronny James. And I thought Stephen A. Smith was very careful. And, there were some things where I felt he was trying to, I don't know, he was being very careful, but at the same time, he was, just speaking his mind. And, he didn't say anything incriminating about Bronny James. He didn't say anything offensive about Bronny James. He just spoke his truth. And you have the right to speak your truth, okay? Just because you don't agree with somebody don't necessarily mean that they're not allowed. If we start picking and choosing what you can say about players, that's a slippery slope. When you just pick and choose what you can say about a certain person, well, you can say this about them, but you can't say that about them. You can critique them on this part of their career, but you can't critique them on the other part of their career. When we start picking and choosing what we can and can't say, then why even have an opinion? Why even talk about it? Okay, so I agree with LeBron being a father protecting his son, But you got to realize when you're in the NBA, you're a man now, and you get criticized and critiqued uh, like everybody else. So, you shouldn't be different, is the point I'm making. Okay. So, I don't agree with LeBron on that part. Now, as far as Stephen A. Smith, I think Stephen A. Smith should let this go. I don't understand why here we are still talking about this. This was last season when LeBron James rolled up on him. Did LeBron James catch him off guard? He probably did. If y'all want to, if people want to say, was this staged by LeBron James? Did he have someone with a camera waiting to record the video when he rolls up on Stephen A. Smith? Uh, if did he catch Stephen A. Smith off guard? Yes. Uh, maybe Stephen A. Smith didn't have enough time to think about it, and maybe he would have said something different, did something different if he felt intimidated by it. But to me, I think Stephen A. Smith. This is sour grapes to me. You're still talking about this. Well, if I knew that he was trying to make this a publicity stunt, then I would have said this or I would have done that. Okay, Stephen A. Smith, you're 60. LeBron James, I think Stephen A. Smith's 60. Maybe he's in his 70s. I don't know. LeBron James is just now turned 40. Y'all not going to fist fight. Let's just get that on out the way. Stephen A. Smith, you're not going to fight LeBron James. LeBron James is definitely not going to fight you. Um, did he catch you off guard? Should have, could have, would have. If you thought this was a publicity stunt, or you thought that LeBron was being disingenuous and you didn't get the opportunity to say what you want to say. Look, you said what you had to say about the incident, even after the incident the first time around. And to me, you're still harboring this a year later on Carmelo Anthony's show. That just shows, to me, it comes off as, hey, I want to be on Carmelo Anthony's show, and this is the only big thing we can talk about is that incident. There is so much other stuff to talk about concerning about Stephen A. Smith. Stephen A. Smith, you're on Mad Dog. You got your radio show. I think you got a radio show on ESPN. You just signed a huge contract with ESPN. You got a political radio show. There are so many other things you can talk about. You're doing great on your YouTube channel. And the NBA season. There are so many other things to talk about. This is just, nobody wants, I don't think anybody's really interested in this. Um, I normally watch Carmelo Anthony's episodes. I'm not watching this because we've been there, done that. Okay. I just feel like, look, you're going on these podcasts to what? You done said all you can say about this incident. It's time to move on. It's time to let go. I'm assuming he's doing this because I guess he wants LeBron James to apologize. But LeBron James has moved on. LeBron James got other fish to fry. Okay. Mainly the Los Angeles Lakers. Okay. And I want to talk about that. We're going to segue away from that into opening night and when will LeBron James return to the NBA. Now, before we get into this, I first like to state this for the record, okay? I want to state this for the record. Um, I find it kind of funny that LeBron James is sidelined and he's not going to be able to play for the next couple of weeks, and the timeline might be after the All-Star break. And I find it kind of funny. Now he's injured. He cannot play. And this is on the eve of the Los Angeles Lakers being sold by new ownership. The new ownership has a new direction. They're moving towards. Thanks for the thumbs up. Um, they're sort of kind of moving away from LeBron James, and they're looking forward to the future of Luca. They went into the draft, got players that fit Luca's skill set. They went into free agency. They got players that fit more so with Luca. Even JJ Redick talking about these new players and how they're going to fit around Luca, and the present day, the immediate plans, the present day plans, even future plans, or they're allocating more time about Luca. It's Luca's time. It's no longer LeBron. LeBron is the past. And it's also on the eve of this is the first time LeBron is playing through a contract with no extension. And it looks like, after the end of this season, they're moving away. They're moving on from LeBron James. And I've said this on plenty of videos and plenty of live streams. Look, no disrespect to LeBron James. LeBron James has accomplished a lot in the NBA. But if you want to be competitive in today's NBA, you can't build your team around a 40-year-old. I'm sorry. You just can't. It's time to build your team around your future. And your future is Luka. It's not LeBron James. And I even did a couple of lives and told you guys it would not surprise me if LeBron continues to play in the NBA. Maybe not with the Los Angeles Lakers, but with another team. And he can be like a renaissance man, like similar to Russell Westbrook. Russell Westbrook gets opportunities every year. Now I think he'll get a couple of more opportunities for the next 2 years. But if I believe LeBron can play another 5 years, 5 or 6 years. And those opportunities that were normally given to Russell Westbrook, they will start giving those opportunities to LeBron. So I can see LeBron James playing in the next 2 to 5 years. And I think it's going to be very hard for Russell to find a home every year. It was hard this year. Luckily, he got signed by the Sacramento Kings. Okay, thankfully. All right, but what about next year? Uh, you know, I, I don't see him going back to the Clippers. I don't see Sacramento signing him again. It's going to be very, very difficult for Russell to find a home next year. But this is not about Russell. This is more so about LeBron James. And, the Lakers are moving on. Everybody is moving on. And LeBron is seeing the writing on the wall, and I guess he's moving on. Okay. So I find it kind of ironic that he's injured, and I think he's injured to a certain extent. I do feel like LeBron can play right now. Well, last night with no with little to no issues. But I mean, why be in a rush to play when you're not even in the future plans of the Los Angeles Lakers? And to put more fire, to put more wood to the fire, the NBC is now starting to televise NBA games. Michael Jeffrey Jordan is part of that team that's going to be talking about the games, and the interest with NBA fans, past, present, and future, is about what Jordan is going to say on these telecasts, on a lot of these telecasts. And from last year when the interest was about LeBron James, you started to see that interest slowly disappear when they traded for Luca, and now all people are talking about is the Michael Jordan experience on NBC. So you know there was, the interest of LeBron James is shrinking. I'm not saying it's gone away. I'm just saying it's shrinking. Now you got people wanting LeBron James to just retire. When he did the decision too, a lot of people assumed that he was going to announce to the world that he was going to retire. I was one that didn't believe in that hook, line, and sinker on everyone else. Everyone else believed in that. I did not believe in that. But he had to draw some type of interest, and I think that was really the only time people were really interested in LeBron James, but for the wrong reason. Not for him to continue to play, but a lot of people thought that he was going to retire. If you look at the NBA today, and if you look at uh, how to be, if you look at these teams today, they're younger teams. There's a new, you can't just buy yourself a championship. The super team era is over with. Is DOA. Now you have to be very. These draft picks are a lot more important than trying to trade your whole future for an aging superstar. I think those times are over with. Okay, those days are over with. So now these teams are keeping these draft picks. Like I've been following my channel, I told you guys even before this collective bargaining agreement, even before the rule changes and how you count, how does a player count to the cap, before all that stuff even changed, I told you guys the NBA is going to be on par with the NFL, where draft picks really matter. And you can't make a mistake in the draft. You can't pick the wrong player or sell your draft picks away for an aging player. Those days are long gone. You better strike it. You better you better strike good in the draft. So yeah, so I don't have the numbers in front of me for opening night. I got it from last year, I believe, and well, I don't know if this is the right numbers for opening night, but I believe it dropped 2% from last year, which is pretty decent. It's not great, but it's pretty decent. You got the NBA spread all over these streaming services for one. You got it on the Peacock, you got it on Amazon, you got it on NBA TV, you got it on ESPN. So you can watch NBA games anywhere, everywhere. Okay, so I think that's great for the NBA. We talked about this last year about having the NBA spread out on so many different uh, streaming services and packages and things of that nature, and how we thought that that would harm the NBA. Now we're looking at it; it's starting to be very beneficial for the NBA. So yeah, um, I think the interest of LeBron, even though it has shrink, there's finally interest just in the NBA teams. More importantly, the Oklahoma City Thunder. So yeah, I feel like that's a good thing. Yeah, you can't go wrong with that. Okay, so moving away from opening night, that's pretty much it, guys. Let me read anybody's comments. See if anybody commented. Nobody commented. Okay, no super chats. Okay, no live chats. So normally, we can talk about the games real fast, real quick. I think the Los Angeles Lakers played the Golden State Warriors and they lost. And the Rockets lost to the Oklahoma City Thunder on opening night. Um, I saw a lot of promise with the Houston Rockets. If you've been following my channel, I told you guys, and we just did a live stream on Kevin Durant signing a 2-year extension with the Houston Rockets. I think the Houston Rockets are built for now. I think their opportunity to win a title is great. I feel like the only team they're going to have issues with, they're going to have to prove that they can beat this team is the Oklahoma City Thunder. So they even though opening night doesn't prove it, I thought they was very competitive. But I think Ime is going to have to go into the lab, look at the game, and execute a better strategy. They were leading in this game a lot until the final stretch. But yeah, I mean, the Rockets looked very, very good. A lot of people were kind of on the fence with the Rockets. I put all my chips in on the Rockets. I think they're going to be a very competitive team. I think they're one of the teams that can knock off the Oklahoma City Thunder. So we'll just have to wait and see. Just going to have to wait and see. So, those are the two games that I wanted to talk about. And yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. So I'm going to end it right here. I really do appreciate everyone coming to the live. Thank you so much. Normally, I do these things in the middle of the night. I just got an opportunity to do it today. So, guys, tell me what you think. It's your boy, the host with the most, your host and moderator of the show, by the way. So, I'll talk to you guys later. Deuces. I'm gone.